Yes, we're home. Now we gotta go see if the urine stinks. Here we go.
Welcome back to our epic road trip. I'm Jill, my partner is Charles, and we've been away from home for almost 6 months. We spent the winter in Arizona and experienced the total eclipse in Texas. And now we're finally headed back to Vermont. We only drive about 60 miles an hour when we're towing the trailer, which feels pretty slow on the freeways. And we're pretty good about not traveling more than 300 miles in a day. But we almost always got right back on the road the next morning. That's partly because we're still learning to force ourselves to slow down, but it's also because we're building our own home off the grid, and we're looking forward to getting back to all those projects we left half finished at the end of October. Good morning. We are back in New England. We just woke up at a campground in Connecticut. One thing about the way that we travel is that we have a lot of family and friends in a lot of places. We've moved around, family and friends have moved around. And when you have friends in a lot of places, it can really pay to stay in touch with them. And I just love that no matter where we go in the country, there's always someone that we know nearby to visit. And we actually visited a whole different set of family and friends than we did on the way down to Arizona. We didn't have a whole lot of time to spend at each visit, but it was really great to reconnect. We have about a 3-hour trip home today, and we are so looking forward to being back on the property, putting the RV in one place for a while and being able to set out everything exactly where it belongs instead of having things half packed and ready to go the next day. And of course, we can't wait to see the condition of the yurt and everything else on the property. Fingers crossed, it will be as we left it.
Well, we have to look for anything that might have gone wrong over the 6 months we've been gone. If any of our P-traps evaporated out, our yurt could stink with sewer gases coming back up.
One thing that we're pretty sure will be disappointing is that we forgot to take the battery out of the Subaru. So the Subaru probably will not start and may even need a brand new battery, which is a shame because that one was only a year old. Well, we're scoping out the driveway before driving up the steepest part of it, and we seem to have a bit of an obstacle here. We're home!
Yes, we're home. Now we gotta go see if the urine stinks. Okay. Gotta work on our door. Here we go. I smell no sewer.
We're in the yurt and it doesn't stink.
No stinky.
Woohoo! Before we left, Charles put some saran wrap over the top of the antifreeze in the toilet. Looks like it worked very well.
No evaporation.
So let's see if the car battery is dead, and if it's dead, can it be revived? That's a good sign, isn't it?
It is a good sign. Even if it won't start, that means the battery's not dead, it might still revive. Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay.
As we've been traveling, we've been winding the clock back on spring. Spring was pretty far advanced in Arizona where we started, and even in Texas. But as we drove further north, there were fewer and fewer trees on the leaves until finally, now that we are back in Vermont, it's 45 degrees and raining. There are several freezes in the upcoming forecast, and we're going to see most of spring in Vermont, as it turns out. Tell me the story, Charles.
So we just got home and I am dewinterizing the water system, and I turned the water on and started slowly letting it in and discovered there was a leak coming out from under the wall. So I turned the water back off and started looking, and the blue pipe here going to the kitchen faucet had burst and was leaking. And I'm not real sure exactly why it burst. Everything was open. Yes, water was sitting in here, but I wouldn't have thought that that would have been enough to create the pressure to burst it, but obviously it did. And this one is almost burst. So I got to replace that. But that just makes, in the future, when we winterize, we just need to make sure that when we turn the water off, underneath the sink, we take the hose loose from the faucet and open that valve and make sure all this is drained out as well.
Get that big girl up. You might be strong, but I weigh 100 more pounds than you.
Oh, there's the squirrel. Oh, it's gonna just
He's taking the
steal
whole
it.
cob.